pickdogs.com. We got Steve Monahan with us. It's college football pick day. Go through the college football schedule. I got to say, not the sexiest schedule in the world this week, but doesn't mean we can't make any money. Got plenty of games to go through. This is our day where we kind of just wade our way through the college football schedule and give out some early picks here. Of course, I did a bunch of free pick videos. I did less free pick videos on college football this week than I've done all season long. It's because there just isn't that many big games. I have a few more that I'm probably going to add to there, but really not a ton more. I just don't see a lot of chicken on the bone there. Just nothing that I think will get people excited to look at the video. So, I mean, I do. I did the Tennessee-Alabama State, college basketball game, and that tells you what this college football schedule looks like. But
right.
Of course, free picks every game, every day at pickdogs.com, and of course here on our YouTube channel, tons of free pick videos. I'm probably going to have more college basketball videos than I've done all season tomorrow. So we're finally getting into some of the most beautiful words you'll ever hear, and that is daytime weekday sports. Love it. This country was built on daytime weekday sports.
That is correct.
Steve, ever spend any time in a cubicle watching ESPN Gamecast?
To get any better than that, come on.
It's like pauses, and you're kind of like, what up? Refreshing it to see. It's like single by Derek Jeter. Single to right field.
I mean, I remember being in 8th grade in 1978, watching the Yankee-Red Sox playoff game, right? The end of the year playoff game. And we were able to watch that at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you had to take the bus home. And I got home by like the 4th inning. So you talk about day sports, the World Series back in the day. I remember like the Dodgers and Oakland A's in like 1974.
Yep.
That type of thing. I miss those days. I really do.
Yeah, daytime weekday sports. That's what makes March Madness so special in college hoops is daytime weekday sports. And I wrote that letter to the commissioner, which, I never heard a response from, but I'll tell you, I could save Major League Baseball for them. There's only a few days a week that they don't have day games. And it's generally Monday, Tuesday, and Friday are really the days that they don't have daytime weekday sports. And a lot of times there's a Friday game at Wrigley Field, so there is daytime sports. But really, all it would take would be adding 6 day games a week in Major League Baseball. A noon to 1 o'clock Eastern Time start game, and then a 4 o'clock Eastern Time start game, which would be 1 o'clock on the West Coast. Adding just every team, if you did it over the course of the summer when it's just baseball, where, baseball is the only game in town, if you just did it across the course of the summer, 2 months, each team would have to do it twice. That's all it would take. And then you split the revenues from the MLB network for those games among the teams. I mean, I laid this all out for the commissioner, and like I said, I got no response. But
not word back yet, huh?
No, but I'll tell you. Imagine like a Brewers versus Blue Jays game on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock when there's no other sports on in the middle of the summer. All of a sudden, I care. All of a sudden, we care, right? It's like now that you have sports betting, now we really care. And same thing with you could take any 2 teams, just name them. Tampa Bay Rays, the small market guys, right? Tampa Bay Rays against the Cincinnati Reds. You throw it on a Wednesday at 4 o'clock, in the dome, so it's not going to rain, and you do that. And it's like you try and schedule these games in places where the rain is unlikely or there's dome stadiums. A lot of these games like that, I mean, you got weekday, daytime sports. Pretty crazy. But anyways, this is our college football show. let's run through the games. We got a lot of action this week, but not a lot of great games. So it's kind of one of those weeks. But we got tonight Buffalo against Toledo. Heavy action on Buffalo today. I had in both games yesterday, I gave out Eastern Michigan on the live show with the Puck Dogs. And then in the premium area, I gave out the other one, Ohio University. I think they're still scoring. Frank Solich, the winningest coach in the history of the MAC Conference. And I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of great coaches out of the MAC. A lot of great coaches in the MAC. So congrats to Frank. It's kind of, I would say it's not like Crash Jensen's home run record, but it's kind of like he's got
Crash
the most
Davis.
But if you look back, I'll tell you, there's been no more successful coach at him at Nebraska since he left either.
That's true.
But anyways, Buffalo and Ohio. I don't know, Buffalo, they had the one really big year when Turner Gill was the coach, and then he went to Nebraska. Nebraska's just the kiss of death for MAC. Any MAC-Nebraska connection, just don't do it. But you got Buffalo and Toledo. Toledo, big-time quarterback problems this year. They can't keep anybody healthy. This team's 0-4 against the number on the road this season.
0-5.
I like the over in this game. It seems to me like an over-type game. Both these teams, Civ defenses. I think this one gets into the 60s, no problem.
Yeah, I like the over here, no doubt.
Then we got Miami of Ohio against Akron. I hate to say the word shit team, but I think we might have a shit team here in Akron. 0-10 against the spread this season. 0-10 straight up.
Garbage.
Let's just say the Rubber City has seen better days.
That is true. But since Coach Faust was roaming the sidelines.
I've been to Akron one time, and I can attest to this. It's
not
way better
good.
on acid, okay? I've only been there on acid. I can't imagine it being any better than that,
Home of the Rubber Bowl, right?
Yes, Grateful Dead with Bob Dylan, 86 Summer Tour.
Nice.
Yes.
Akron, wow. You must have been on it.
One of the guys I was touring with, I toured with maybe 15 people that summer. One of the guys I was touring with said, hey, we live near Akron. Why don't we stay at our house? I think it might be the last time he ever was allowed to have guests in his home. His parents, I don't know, they were quite ready for us.
What the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
No, I would go with the Miami of Ohio squad here all day long.
I struggle with this game as far as a total. I got a premium pick on this one, but you guys can only guess what it is. I don't know. I'm going to leave it alone. We got Georgia Tech tomorrow night against NC State. Georgia Tech is improving as 2-8 on the season can be. 0-5 against the spread at home, 2-8 against the number this season. NC State 0-4 against the spread on the road. Someone's O has got to go, unless there's a push. But the line is at 2.5. Georgia Tech is favored here. This is Senior Day in Atlanta. Of course, they travel to Athens next week for. I love the name games and the trophy games. And next week, of course, Georgia Tech. Clean, old-fashioned hate. But do you think Georgia Tech is maybe looking ahead to hate week, or do you think that it's...
No, I don't think Georgia Tech is good enough to look forward to hate week. And NC State, they've fallen on hard times, too. They got off to somewhat of a decent start this year. If I remember correctly, they went into Boston College and... really pounded Boston College in like week 3 or something like that. But Georgia Tech has been playing better of late. NC State has not. And the fact that the game is in Atlanta with the Senior Day thing, I think the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech can win by a field goal. So I'll take Georgia Tech.
All right. I think I'm going to lean to the over in this game as well.
Again, two crappy defenses.
We go to tomorrow, or to Friday, just one college football game. Colorado State taking on Wyoming. These teams have been playing since 1899. So that's a lot of football. I watch a lot of football, but these teams have played 110 times. This is the 111th meeting for the Bronze Boot.
Wow. Yeah. That is a long time. Absolutely.
That is a long time. It is one of the oldest rivalries. Auburn, Georgia, that we saw last week, the Deep South rivalry, that was the 125th version of the Deep South rivalry. But this at 110, I mean, for a West Coast thing, is a long time. Because you got to remember, I mean, baseball hit St. Louis and then it went to LA, but that was in the 50s, right? So it's like it's long.
Yeah. I'm actually stunned by that revelation, how long that rivalry is, to be honest.
It's the Bronze Boot.
It's the Bronze Boot. But I'll take the Wyoming Cowboys here in the Bronze Boot.
Yeah, I think Wyoming is the better team also. I just think that generally in this game, you get some weather. I've seen so many Wyoming Bronze Boot games against Colorado State. These are the games where you see the snow in the face mask. Those are the best ones, right? It's like where the guy gets up and it's like just snow all the way across the face mask. Yep. These are the games. It's Colorado State, Wyoming. For the boot, Wyoming 6.5-point favorites in this one, but 76% of the public. We got inverse line movement. I still like the over in this one too. I think it's an over week.
Okay.
Move to Saturday, and the Kings of Piscataway are playing against Michigan State. It's got to be senior day at Rutgers. 22% of the public riding the Scarlet Knights. Lined up to 20.5, almost 3 touchdowns. More points than Michigan State scored all season long. Sparty 4-6. They got to win out if they want to go to a bowl game. There's some big bowls out there waiting for Michigan State, but I believe that it might be Rutgers and then Penn State. I'm not sure who that last
is. Well, yeah, Rutgers definitely finishes with Penn State the following week. But Michigan State, to your point, if they want to be bowl eligible, it's a must-win. Now, Ohio State came to Rutgers last week, and listen, the spread was 52 or 53. Ohio State took care of business. They took their foot off the gas pedal, pretty much at halftime. So I actually had tickets for this game for Michigan State Rutgers, but I am passing to attend my alma mater, my high school, in the state semifinals against the Don Bosco Prep Ironmen, my St. Joe's Green Knights. So I'm going to be attending my alma mater high school football game instead. 20.5-point thing here. I still got to ride the Rutgers gravy train. I think Michigan State will win by more than 20.5 points. And I will take the Sparties of Spartanville, the Michigan State.
This is just a horrible game. I couldn't even do a video on it. I'm going to take Michigan State. I think it's going to be in that 24-3 range.
I think so, too.
I don't think it's not going to be nothing fun about it. There's just really not a lot of games. We've got Tulane against UCF. Tulane, one of those teams that has always had odd line movement on them all season long. Getting 6 points at home here. They're 5-0 against the number in New Orleans, while UCF 7-3 on the season, 2-3 against the spread on the road. Here's something about UCF. This is their 6th road game in 11 games. No other schools play that, but that's how you get good, is taking things like this. But it's Tulane +6 at home, and the total 69.5.
I'll go with UCF on the road.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Tulane is they're so good against the spread at home. I'll take Tulane. I think UCF wins. I think it's going to be a battle. Got Minnesota visiting Northwestern. The Flexters, after last week's loss to Iowa, which we gave out as a premium pick. We had Iowa all the way in that game. It was nip and tuck all the way with the number. Iowa had missed an extra point earlier in the game. Minnesota came down. They wanted that push bad, and they missed the extra point. Goes to a 4-point win
Iowa.
For
We both had Iowa last week, and
Iowa.
it's been a good run for Minnesota, so you can actually discount them now out of the top four discussion. But they'll land a very good bowl game. But I think they rebound. We've talked about Northwestern all year. They stink this year. It's probably one of the worst Pat Fitzgerald teams in recent memory. So 13.5 points here. Minnesota will be angry. They need to make a statement. I'll take the Flexters here covering.
Yeah, I kind of like Minnesota in this one too. That game, it reminded me of that Sopranos episode where the guy from Wings was on for a few episodes, and he had the gambling problem, and he's like, in there, and he's like, who misses an extra point? And the guy says, I don't care, just give me the money. But one of those games. Meanwhile, we got Sam is a little bit excited over here.
What's up, Sammy?
But because Carrie's home. Got West Virginia taking on Oklahoma State. West Virginia getting 7 points in this thing. 4-6 on the season. The Mountaineers need to win out. Oklahoma State, they got Bedlam up next week. So, could they be caught looking ahead? It is a trap spot, no doubt about it. 8-2 against the spread in their last 10 for the Cowboys. 4-1 against the spread on the road. While the Mountaineers 1-3 against the spread at home. I mean, Morgantown on Senior Day. Will there be a couch spared from the fire? I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. Good bonfire in West Virginia, right? Big time.
Well, they burn the couches. They're couch burners.
Yeah. But that being said, I'll take Oklahoma State here. I think West Virginia stinks.
West Virginia stinks, but I'm going to take them in this spot. I know Oklahoma State has actually played better towards the end of the season, but I like the way West Virginia, they've been battling too, and they kind of hung in games. And I think Oklahoma State could get the win here, but I think West Virginia on Senior Day, it's a trap spot for Oklahoma State because it's kind of like they're looking ahead to Bedlam next week.
I got it.
I believe they host this year.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Bedlam's one of those series, and we'll talk about it next week, where it's a rivalry, but, generally in rivalries, it's like, one team wins and the other team, they kind of go back and forth, and, some will go on some runs. Like we have, Ohio State on a run against Michigan right now. And, but Bedlam has never been close. It's never been close. You could name the Oklahoma State wins on one hand, like the big ones. Les Miles, maybe. Right? It's like
maybe Barry Sanders pulled one off or something.
Yeah, it's like, but it's rare.
Far and few between. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is way few and far between in the Bedlam series. It's one of those weird things. That was like before Phil Mickelson had ever won a major, and they said, "Oh, what about your rivalry with Tiger Woods?" He's like, first I have to win a major in order to be a rivalry, Tiger didn't say that. Phil said that. But anyways, speaking of golf, so I'm on the second hole today, and some lady almost hit me. I mean, the ball missed my head by about this much.
We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Can somebody ring the bell, please?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Right by your ear?
It is a 10-foot drive to look down. That's all it is. And I mean, I smacked my drive. So she was hitting from the women's team. Let's just say she might have played defensive line for the Chiefs back in the Curly Culp, Elvin Bethea days.
Buck Buchanan days?
Yeah. I think that she might have backed up Curly Culp on the nose. And she's... And
did we confront Miss Culp about?
Let's just say I don't always think before I speak, and I might have said the word you're not supposed to say. It starts with a C.
Okay. Understood.
Yeah. Right. It was. She said, I don't know what happened there. You hit. She says, all I know is you hit 2 balls off the tee. I'm like, I could hit 10 balls off the tee. It doesn't give you the right to do it. I said, the reason I hit 2 balls off the tee is, number 1, it's pitch black. I can't frickin' see a thing. And number 2, it's like I felt it push, and I heard a click of a tree branch. So I hit a provisional ball. It's like, that was my second ball. I'm like, I didn't lose the first one. It kicked back in, but I mean, I play a draw, so I was on this hole. It's tight on both sides, so I have to play it out to the right. She's yelling at me. Wasn't pretty. Wasn't one of my finer moments. Let's just say that. Kinder, gentler Mitch wasn't present. Ohio State against Penn State at the Horseshoe. I thought that this was going to be a much bigger, better game a few weeks ago. I think the Michigan game, we started to see it from Penn State where they took their foot off the gas and they might not be as deep and talented as we thought they were. They might have a few guys who are real athletes, but they don't have a roster full of them. And they have reasonable quarterback play, but it's more similar to this Trace McSorley type quarterback play where it's kind of like every play, it's kind of the quarterback making a miraculous, escape from a guy who's, moderate athletic ability compared to, the other. I'm not saying that the quarterback is moderate athletic ability. I'm just saying compared to everybody else on the field. And, that only gets you so far. And we saw, we talked about the Penn State-Minnesota game when, I said that it would come right down to the last thing, and Penn State's going to hit the tight end with, from the 15-yard line with, less than a minute left to go. And sure enough, they were right there, and, they threw the interception instead. Ohio State doesn't really have a weakness that I can see. I think they can be beat. I think they can be outmatched. But I don't see them having a weakness, and in this matchup, I don't see them having a disadvantage anywhere on the field against Penn State. So that's the issue with this one, is that right there. I think when you look at matchups, and I think if you go to the next level and you say, well, these are the 4 playoff teams, and even take it out to 6, well, if Ohio State does get 2 instead of 1, and LSU wins the SEC championship and wins out, and they get 1, and then Ohio State gets 2, and they have to play against Clemson, Ohio State's going to probably have some problems there. And I'm not saying they're going to lose to Clemson or get shut out again by them, though no one's going to mind if that happens. But it's I could see Clemson having some players and some talent, some speed, especially those wide receivers. I could see them getting open, and I could see Lawrence being able to hit them. But I don't see Penn State having those same edge with these little slot. To me, it's a roster full of slot receivers. I like a good slot receiver. As much as the next.
It's a roster full of O.J. McDuffies.
Yeah,
or something
I love Santana Moss, but he also had Reggie Wayne. It's like I like the slot guys. I like them. The guy that we talk about that the Saints have. I always forget his name. And Brandon, whatever his name is, he played on the Patriots. Played on Oregon State. He played
Brandon
on Cooks. Right. He's a nice guy. He's going to fit in there. But they got Cooks. They got Michael Thomas. Right. It's like you have to have the other guy. You got to have DeAndre Hopkins. You got to have him, and Clemson's got 6 of them. Penn State, I don't see him having 1.
Right.
And that's the issue that I have here. Also, I don't think the Penn State defense is going to be able to control that Ohio State crossing patterns. I think if they can't get any pressure on Fields, this could be like 50 years. This could be like the Michigan-Ohio State game last year, 50-60 to 14-ish.
I don't think Penn State will get whipped that bad, but the spread last I saw is 18. I do think Ohio State will take it to Penn State. I just think OSU, with Dobbins running the ball, Fields passing it, their receiving corps, their defense, their secondary, their pass rush. They're just loaded, man.
So I'm not a Dobbins guy, and that's where I think other teams have.
I think Dobbins is a pretty good college running back, that's for sure. I don't know if he translates to the NFL yet.
He doesn't. And it's like if you can rush 4 against Ohio State, then you have a chance. That's the only chance you really have. Is you have to be able to rush 4 and spy on Fields. But it's like if you need to apply more guys to that, then you're going to be in trouble, and that's what we've seen. They haven't played anybody, so it makes it really difficult.
I thought the spread was actually going to be a tad higher, So I'm comfortable Ohio State at home. No problem. I'm confident Ohio State wins by
In a
3.
walk. In a walk. I just don't even see it. Generally, I can usually smell an Ohio State home upset coming. They normally have one, but
Yeah,
I don't
not this
see it.
one.
I don't not in this one. This is not like a spot where they're going to be lazy or anything like that. This is like.
And did I read the rankings right? Is Penn State ahead of Minnesota, even though they lost home on
I'm
November
sure
9th?
they are. I'm sure Notre Dame is ahead of both of them with 2 losses. It's just the rankings don't make any sense. They never do.
I didn't even know why I brought it up, but I saw it. I said, really?
Ever since they took away my vote, the whole thing went to shit. I'll tell you that much.
Shit.
They took my vote away. Bastards.
Bastards.
Give Mitch's vote back. Let Mitch vote. My right to vote. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. So what? I didn't vote for Jake Long for the Outland Trophy. Kill me.
Go ahead, kill him.
You know?
Right?
Shoot me, It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, we won't shoot you. We'll just take away your vote.
Who was the highest offensive lineman in the Heisman? Like Bill Fralick, maybe, back in the late 70s? Did he, like, from an offensive lineman in the Heisman voting? I'm just throwing it out there.
Probably.
Bill Fralick was up there, man, right?
Yep. And if I had an Outland vote, then I would have voted for him too, or even the Heisman vote, which I never have had.
And maybe Dave Remington.
Yeah.
From Nebraska.
I've never had a. Well, actually, on that line, that Remington line, Dean Steinkuhler was the Outland winner that year.
That's right.
Same line.
That's right.
They had the Outland winner, the Heisman winner, and the number 1 overall NFL draft choice, all different players, all on the same team.
Yeah.
And they averaged 59 yards per game. Those people that don't know what we're talking about, it's 83 Nebraska. The Heisman winner was Mike Rozier. The Outland winner, Dean Steinkuhler. The number 1 overall draft choice in the NFL draft by the New England Patriots, Irving Fryer. Yep.
And Dean Steinkuhler had the Fumblerooski touchdown in the Orange Bowl. Remember
against
that?
Miami.
Yeah.
Miami's first national championship.
Yeah.
The miracle in Miami. I was at the game.
Miracle in Miami.
Miracle in Miami. Anyway, speaking of miracles, we got Iowa against Illinois. This is a good game. 6-4 for Illinois there. Lovey's going bowling. That's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Hawkeyes, after that win over Minnesota, all of a sudden now the public loves them. I think Stanley is one of the better quarterbacks out there. He's the quiet guy, that nobody talks about. That I believe is a good quarterback, and
he's got good size.
Yeah, this guy can throw the ball. We have some guys. We have some Iowa people. I know Jesse, who's in our Facebook group, is an Iowa guy, and I never asked him about this, but I think Stanley is a legitimate NFL quarterback. I like him way better. Like a few years ago, with the guy from Penn State that the Jets took, Christian, whatever his name was. Oh God! I mean, seriously, this guy could not even execute a snap, without fumbling in college, and it's like they still said this about him, but. This Stanley is pretty good. He has a lot less to work with than some of these other teams, and he's held up in some of these big games. I thought they should have won the Wisconsin game, and I think that hurt them. But the Minnesota game, all of a sudden the Hawkeyes are 15.5-point favorites over Lovey and Illinois, who have been the bastard stepchild in the odds makers' eyes all season long, but they've defied the odds. 3-1 straight up on the road, 7-3 against the spread for Illinois this season. We've been on them. We were early adopters on Illinois. We had Eastern Michigan against them early. Guilty as charged. Eastern Michigan beat them outright. We'll take it. But just like we had Eastern Michigan as the dog yesterday, and they won, but outright. But Eastern Michigan as a dog always covers. His favorite, death.
We had Illinois versus Michigan. That was like a 21-point spread, I think. We covered on that one.
Yeah.
But I like Illinois. I mean, I think the spread's too much for Iowa here. And I like Illinois on the road. I see Iowa winning. I think Iowa's the better team, but I see Illinois covering here. So I'll take the Fighting Illini on the road.
So how about the wave to the Children's Hospital at Iowa, right? This is something that was special about Iowa that they always have done, and they continue to do it. And, of course, they do it. But how about the visiting team making a donation instead? Both. How about taking out the checkbook and saying, you know what? We're going to waive. We're also going to give you 15 grand. How's that?
Yeah, right. That'd be a nice gesture.
I think it would be a great gesture. Maybe like a little helmet sticker that they get to wear the rest of the season. I don't know. Throw it out there.
Oh, that's good. That's a good idea.
I just think that the game needs more stuff like this. You know, Iowa team that plays in tons of trophy games. And last week, Floyd Rosedale returning back to Iowa. Iowa plays in the most trophy games. They play in the Cy Hawk Trophy, Floyd of Rosedale, the Heroes Trophy with Nebraska, the Heartland Trophy with Wisconsin. I mean, they play in the most trophy games.
Yeah, I would think so. Sure.
They play in just a ton. Illinois plays in a bunch as well. Illinois, Michigan, Illinois, Missouri, Illinois Northwestern, the Land of Lincoln Trophy. That will be next week. I don't think Illinois is looking too far ahead at that one. I remember the year they played it at Wrigley Field, and both teams had to go in the same direction because they were worried about the brick wall and the layout of the thing. Craziest thing about Wrigley, when I lived there, they resodded the field at Wrigley, and they dug up all the old turf, and there was a pipe in the ground, like a goalpost pipe from way back when the Bears played there. And it was just sticking up out of the grass. It was like maybe layered over of years of grass growing over it, but it was like a sharp edge pipe, like the thing that Mickey Mantle ripped his knee out at Yankee Stadium. It was like just sitting there in the middle of Wrigley Field. Craziness. But I don't know. I like Illinois in this game too. I just think it's a lot of points.
Yeah, I do too.
We'll keep moving right along. Of course, those of you watching, if you could hit the thumbs up, greatly appreciated. This is our college football show. Tomorrow we do our. Oh, I didn't even edit our title here. Tomorrow we do.
We do a little NFL tomorrow.
Yeah,
preview.
Tomorrow it's all NFL, and then Friday free for all. Both shows. I do. What is it? Week 13.
You are correct, sir.
So yeah, Friday it'll be free for all both shows in the morning, and we'll do free for all football in the afternoon. Double free for all, and starting next week, the Puck Dogs have a daily show right here at Pick Dogs. There's Puck Dogs. Roz Wacky and Chris with the monster picks yesterday in hockey. Winnipeg and a straight up dog at plus 195, and they also loved them on the reverse puck line at plus 465. Gave it out on the show right here. Not on this one, on the morning show.
Well done, Puck Dogs. Well done.
Man. No one's complaining about the Puck Dogs, that's for damn sure. But anyways, let's get back to action here. We got, I don't even want to do that one. Notre Dame and Boston College, battle of the Catholic schools. 19-point spread here for the Irish.
Yep.
Irish 8-2, 6-2 straight up at home, 4-2 against the spread at home. Meanwhile, Boston College 5-5 on the season. They got to win one of these last two if they want to make it to that Pinstripe Bowl.
Yep.
6-4 against the spread, 3-1 against the number on the road. To me, this game is just too many points. Boston College, Notre Dame might not treat this as a rivalry or as a big game, but Boston College certainly does.
They most certainly do. You know, I'm a Notre Dame fan, always have been. However, it's too many points for my liking. To your point, Boston College needs to win out one of the next two for bowl eligibility. They're 5-5. They've been inconsistent. They got a good ground game. I just think there's too many points here, so I'm going to take Boston College and the points. They may even win this. I like Notre Dame to win it, but I love BC with the points, so I'm going Boston College.
You got Georgia hosting Texas A&M. Georgia sitting in that 4 spot in the playoffs. I don't see it, but here's the thing about Georgia, right? They do have quality wins, which Alabama doesn't have, but they do have a loss to South Carolina that Alabama doesn't have. And that's, if you're going to go Alabama or Georgia for that spot, I'm pretty sure what the committee is looking for here is that Georgia goes to the championship game, plays LSU, and if they beat them, they're in. If they lose, then they have Bama just right in position, even though they didn't play in the playoffs. And this is not a good Bama team. They're not going anywhere. It would be a rematch of LSU-Bama in the opening round of the playoff. And the last time they met in the postseason, man, it was the game that changed college football forever. It's the game that gave us a playoff because it was such a bad game. It was. I love college football, and I say I could watch, tonight's, Miami of Ohio Akron game, but that LSU Alabama game could have been the worst game I've ever seen. I mean, it was just horrific.
Oh, not for Alabama, but
I think it was 6 field goals. I think that's what it was. I think it was 18-0 with 6 field goals. It was horrific. LSU never got a whiff in that game.
I think Trent Richardson had a touchdown run in that game finally. McCarron, I think, was the quarterback on Alabama. It was. It really it set the stage for the playoff because it was
like no one wanted to sit through that again. But anyways, we got Georgia taking on Texas A&M. 7-3 Texas A&M quietly. And when you look at the 3 losses, they're really not that bad. When push comes to shove here, it's Auburn and then Alabama and Clemson. So not too shabby. When you look at Georgia, 9-1, they got wins over Florida, wins over Auburn, lost to South Carolina. The head scratcher.
I'm kind of torn on this game. I've been looking at it back and forth, and you stole my thunder there on Texas A&M's 3 losses. They're quality teams that they lost to. Jimbo Fisher, he's not my favorite coach, but I got to say he's doing a serviceable job right now at Texas A&M. Georgia just doesn't put up the 50-60 number in offense. They seem like they're methodical with Jake Fromm running the show. And typically, Georgia will score in the mid-20s maybe on a good day. So I think Georgia absolutely wins the game, but I think I'm going to go with Texas A&M, and I don't see Georgia covering 13.5 points.
I like Texas A&M too. They covered against Clemson, in a similar spot. 2-0 against the number on the road. Typical SEC Big Ten type team. 2 road games this season. I mean, I don't know how that works that way, but they did it, 2 road games. College Station's a tough place to play. They're home every week. It's every single week.
It's like the Green Bay Packers in the NFL. They're home every week.
Ohio State's the same way. They're home every single week. UCLA against USC. UCLA needs to win out after last week's debacle against Utah. I don't think there's any shame in that loss to Utah personally. I think if you're going to lose to Utah, if you're going to lose big, at least make it the number 6 team. And I honestly believe that 4, 5, and 6, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all interchangeable at this point in the playoffs. I think any of those teams can go, and I think none of them can beat LSU. But UCLA got rung up by Utah, especially in the second half. Meanwhile, USC, I'm still enamored with those wide receivers. Still can't get past it. And I've been on the Trojans plenty. This line went from 6 to 14. Jump.
Right.
2 teams. These guys don't like each other. These fan bases do not like each other.
This is a good rivalry game, though. This is always
It is a rivalry game. There is some respect there. You got to remember a few years ago, UCLA was penalized for wearing
Jim Mora Jr. administration?
Yeah, well, they were penalized on the first play of the game for wearing their home uniforms, a 5-yard penalty, because they wore the powder blue at USC, who was also wearing their home uniforms at the same time. So Pete Carroll took a too much time penalty right out of the gate to offset it, to start the game back at exactly where they were. And so, some showmanship, but once again, these games this is actually a pretty good series.
And these are typically very high-scoring games too. Um, so, I mean, the spread is what, 14 last I saw?
Yep.
I think I'll just go with the over in this.
I'm going to take UCLA in the points. I think they play them generally fairly close. I know USC is going to want revenge. Last year, USC was favored, and UCLA beat them as lousy as they were last year.
I know UCLA is just so inconsistent, especially.
So inconsistent, but they need it.
I know. Well, they're 4-6. I don't see them winning 2 games to go 6-6 and bowl eligible. So
you never know.
You never know. There's
a reason they play the games.
That's it. You play to win the game.
Well, I don't know if he's going to be playing to win any games this week, but we'll get to that one. Got Maryland up against Nebraska. Nebraska 4-6. They need to win out.
Yep.
I believe that they have that brutal game that they always play. Well, actually, they played Colorado early in the season, but they always play that Friday after Thanksgiving game. Meanwhile, Maryland, the wheels fell off the cart on it, what looked to be a somewhat promising season early.
Maryland's, God almighty, what a... I don't even know what to say about that.
Not a lot of pretty games on the schedule this week. The second half part of the season. So Nebraska plays Iowa next week. They're going to need, and they need to win out to get in.
Yeah, I like Nebraska here. I can't take Maryland. I just can't. When I'm not.
I have to go with Maryland. I can't go with Nebraska because
I can't go with Maryland
against Wisconsin, and it just left a bad taste in my mouth.
No, I'll take Nebraska.
It's kind of like, you see a piece of fruit and you're like, it doesn't really look that good. You take a bite of it anyway. It's saying, like, I'm not doing it again with Nebraska. I know they're not good. I know they're rotten to the core.
Yeah, so's Maryland.
Maryland, they stink. At least they're home.
Yeah,
it's senior day.
Uh-huh.
Move on. Got Indiana against Michigan. This is an interesting one. Tom Allen, my least favorite coach in all of college football, against Jim Harbaugh, my least favorite coach in all of college football. It's like we have two coaches who I absolutely hate their guts. I don't understand the game plan. For both of them. These are two game plans. There'll be a game plan in this one that I will just sit there saying, what exactly is the strategy here? I was at a game with our friend Fitzy in college against the Patriots against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs run back the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and some guy, random Patriots fan, yells out. Rod Rust was the coach. Someone yelled out, "Nice game plan, Rust!" It was like the opening kickoff. It was just like there was no rhyme or reason to anything going on there. We were only 4 seconds into the game, and they were already questioning them. And this one, we're only on Wednesday. Tom Allen, here's a guy that does not play to win the game. I don't know what he's actually trying to do. It's some of the weirdest clock management and play calling that you'll ever see. It's like the fake punt that you don't tell everybody that the fake punt's called off. It's like it doesn't even make any sense to me. Meanwhile, they're covering spreads all season like no one's business. And then Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, that first half last week, 3rd and 3, that's 17-yard out pattern. Not even like, something over the middle where you can look and see if something's out there. Just like, it's like, how about a low percentage pass and a high percentage? It's like you get down to third manageable, right? They call it on schedule, right? Let's find the lowest percentage pass. And you know what? Let's see. Let's make sure our guys in double coverage.
Time out. I want to go to May.
It's like, where's the double coverage with safety help? It's like, throw it right there. Let's see if we can beat them. Let's show them we can do it. It's like, what are you doing? And meanwhile, Indiana, this is a team of quitters, right? I said this a few years ago against Ohio State. 5 minutes left to go in the game. They're slamming the ball into the line 3 times. It's just, I don't understand what they're doing. 34% here on Indiana, 66% on Michigan. Michigan has beaten up on the bad teams, not taking care of business against the really good teams. They got Ohio State next week. This is about as trappy of a spot as there looks to be on the entire board. I'm going to go with Tom Allen, Indiana. And you know what? On next week's show, I'm going to be talking about what a piece of garbage this guy is as a coach because he's going to screw me on this game.
All right.
It's going to be it'll be like they'll be down 10 with like 6 minutes left to go, and he'll bring the backups in. He'll run 3 draw plays. kick it away, and then Harbaugh will still be throwing deep. You know.
Yep. I like Michigan here. I like them to cover the points. It's 10 points. To your point, they've been really beating up on the inferior teams. And, even a week out or whatever, or a week and a half out, I think Michigan is going to lay an egg again next week. We'll deal with that next week, but I like them to cover here against Indiana. I just think they're a better football team.
Got Baylor up against Texas, and we have a question on the Georgia and Georgia Tech game. We have a video on the site on that college basketball game. If you're talking about football, the game is next week. But if you're talking about Georgia Tech basketball, I have a video on the site. It's on YouTube under the college basketball title, and it might be a little hard to find for you. It's called Georgia versus Georgia Tech college basketball 3-pick. So it's under that heading. You just look for that, and it's there. But this is our college football preview show. Anyways, but if you want that pick, I did a video on it. I swear I did a bunch of them last night. I even did Tennessee, Alabama State, just to talk to my Tennessee fans and tell them. I'm like, you guys think I never have picked you in my life? It's like I've picked you guys for years. It's like one game I don't pick you. It's like I'm the asshole all of a sudden. It's like I was the guy.
Seattle getting run out of Tennessee before you even signed the contract.
I'm the guy when they showed the picture of Aaron Kraft in Bruce Pearl's living room. I'm the guy saying, "Are you sure that's Pearl's living room?" It's like, come on. Aaron Kraft just such a scholar.
Oh,
it's like he was going to bring the GPA of not just the team up of the entire athletic department. He really was one of the smartest college players we've seen in a long time. And it was Baylor up against Texas. Baylor coming off of that heartbreaker of a loss against Oklahoma. Now they close out the season at home. It's still, 9-1, 10-1, maybe a Cotton Bowl performance coming up or something. This has been a great year for Baylor football, and certainly something to build on for the future.
Matt Rule has done a real good job at Baylor. This guy came from Temple. And his first season. This is, I think, his third year or fourth year now.
Yeah, you want to talk about the biggest turnaround in college football? It's at Baylor. Meanwhile, Texas, Tom Herman, who's making 10 times as much, doing nothing with a lot more. And Texas athletic program. You want to talk about big bucks? It's like you could take like 6 schools, and not just not talking about the lower level MAC schools or something or Sun Belt schools. I'm talking about like Miami, Rutgers. I could name a few others. Northwestern. You could take their entire athletic budgets, and Texas still has a bigger one than them.
True.
I just don't understand it. Why Tom Herman can't have more than 6 wins at Texas? He's going to leave this game with 6 wins as well. I like Baylor here.
I do too.
I just don't even understand what Texas is doing. Once again, you have Tom Herman and Shaka Smart as your coaches, and you can't win games. Your boosters just aren't doing things right over there. Something's going on where it's like, the guy, that whole FBI hearing last year when, Creighton offered the guy $100,000. Oregon offered him $100,000 in the house. Texas offered him $10,000. It's like, who's in charge of this shit over there? Who is in charge, man? It's like, what is going on?
And it certainly isn't J.R. Ewing in charge, that's for sure.
That's how you get to 6-4. It's not... And the worst part of the 6-4, even though it was the best team that they played, was the LSU game at home. It was their chance. That was their stage. That was their chance. And it was like, they got rung up. And then Oklahoma beat them. And it's like, now Baylor's going to beat them. Kansas State, they squeak by them. TCU beats them, I don't
get it either. I think Tom Herman's a good coach. I said this on the show a couple weeks ago. But to your point, you're right. 6 wins just doesn't cut it at Texas. And Baylor, I think you're going to pencil them in for Cotton Bowl. So I see them beating Texas here.
Tom Herman's base is only $5 million a year, but that's the base that he's making.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's loaded with incentives. Texas is a public school, so maybe we'll have to do maybe for Friday we'll get a shot of Tom Herman's contract. It's out there on the internet. I know it is. We'll find out what kind of incentives he's got for bowls and for wins and conference championships and all sorts of stuff like that. Like Brett Bielema's contract was out there. We had a good time with that one a few years ago. Let's see if we can find Tom Herman's contract over here. Tom Herman contract. Because all these guys are public employees. So he got an extension, but I want to see the actual. I like to look at the actual contract. Here it is. The employment contract between Thomas J. Herman and the this is his Houston contract.
Okay. His Cougar contract.
Yeah, I usually like to peruse the internet. I'm the like this section gets probably 2 hits a year. I'm one of them on all the coaches' contracts. Look at all these incentives here. All academic years, GPA 2 point above for college athletes, $10,000. All academic end of spring semester, $10,000. Graduation rate of 60%, $10,000 bonus.
Wow, 60%. Wow.
8 wins, $10,000. 9 wins, $10,000. 10 wins, $17,000. 11 wins, $17,500. 12 wins, $20,000. Coaching team conference championship game, $10,000. Champion New Year's 6 bowl game, $25,000. New Year's 6 win, $75,000. I mean, look at this. It goes on and on and on. NCAA
so you can imagine what's that Texas?
CFP coaches, AP top 25 final ranking. See, it's amazing what's out there on the internet if you look. Look how long it goes. Look at all the stipulations. I don't see the cocaine party and prostitute section here.
I don't see that yet either.
And of course, the signatures. That's all out there because these
what's his bonus for winning 6 games?
Most people don't know. Most people don't think about this too much. But these are public institutions paid for by state money, and these documents are all out on the internet. Any of the state schools, the coach's contract is out there. So like Nick Saban's contract, it is out there. You know,
James Franklin, Penn State's got to be out there. That type of thing.
We'll have to do a whole show on this. Maybe like maybe that Army Navy week where there's only one game. We'll do coaches' contracts for 1,000.
That's cool. Totally.
But it's amazing the stuff you can find out here on the internet if you look. And here's James Franklin.
What's he making?
James Franklin, he makes 6 years, $34.7 million.
Well, over $5 million.
But where's the I don't care about the articles about the contract. I look for the actual contract. You know, contract PDF format. That's what you have to do. Here it is. James Franklin, base salary, proposed financial terms. Oh, there's his extension too. It's all out here. God bless Google, huh? Here's the proposed financial term sheet. Pennsylvania State University coach James Franklin. Got some terms here. Whoa! Win the college football national championship. Tom Herman was only getting 100. Look at that number. 800,000. Runner up, 500,000. Boy, how expensive was that Minnesota game? College football playoff. Look at that college football playoff. $400,000 bonus for Franklin on that. Big Ten Coach of the Year, $100,000. National Coach of the Year, $150,000. $10,000 per year vehicle allowance on the dealer car program. Retention bonuses of, his retention bonus for this year. You see that, 2019, $750,000 just for re-upping. Yeah, this is why the faculty members don't make any money. Right there.
That's right.
But this is also how the universities make the most money. But like I said, we should maybe going forward. We should start doing a coaches segment with contracts. We could do college basketball coaches. We could do everybody. And there's Brett Bielema was the best one you'll ever see. It was the best one ever. It was definitely, that's the holy grail of coaches' contracts because it was a lot of money. He was a bad coach and it was all guaranteed. He had some incentives in there, but it was already at, like by the time he got to that, he was already at $9 million. You know, it's like these were things to get him into that 11+ million.
Right.
You know, it's like, man, how does Brett Bielema have such a hot wife? It's like, I don't know.
Take a wild guess.
Take a wild guess. Arkansas. We got Virginia Tech and Pitt. ACC matchup. Blacksburg. Virginia Tech 7-3. Pitt 7-3. These teams kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. This game's in Blacksburg.
Yes.
Therefore, I will take the Hokies at home.
I'm going to take Pitt plus the points. I think the Hokies can win this game. I just like that 4 number. I just think that, you know, Pitt has 4-0 against the spread on the road, 3-1 straight up on the road. There's a team that covers point spreads. I'm just going to take Pitt. We got Wisconsin hosting Purdue. The Boilers, really disappointing season. They got this one, and then next week, of course, against Tom Allen and for the old Oaken bucket. So I like Purdue in that one. I'll say it right now. I don't even care what the spread is. I think Purdue wins the bucket. But Wisconsin, 24.5-point favorites at home. Senior day, I've been to Madison. Man, it's like there's few places I would sit in that cold of weather to watch a game in November, and that's probably the one I would do it. It is my favorite college campus in the entire country. Is Wisconsin. If I had it to do all over again, no offense to my BU guys, but I would go to Madison.
Camp Randall's where it's at?
In a heartbeat. I mean, it is just, and it is amazing.
Good brats.
Tailgate parties.
Good brats.
I mean, they have it all. They have a good basketball team. They have a good hockey team. They got a good football team. They have, you know, just tons of students. Frat row, really, like a real frat row, not organized gangs, you know, like some of the frats out there.
I tell you, I'll take Wisconsin at home, especially senior day with the points. I think Jonathan Taylor will have a big day again. I just see Wisconsin amped up for this. Purdue is, they've had a tough season. They've had a couple good games, but not nearly enough. I like Wisconsin here.
Yeah, I like Wisconsin in this one too. We got Stanford versus Cal. This one is the game, right? Is it the game or the big game? I think it's the big game.
I think the big game too.
But we got Cal and Stanford,
Well, Stanford, obviously, the more disappointing of the two teams. Cal, you kind of always know what you're going to get out of a Cal team.
Well, I think this year, the way they started with the defense, that it's the big game.
It's the big game, yeah.
They play for the Axe also. It's a different Axe.
Oh, okay.
Did not know that.
What's the spread?
2.5, Stanford.
I'll take Stanford, too.
I take Cal. I like that trombone player. I'm going to stick with it. The band is on the field.
The band is on the field.
South Florida against Memphis. South Florida held their own last week against Cincinnati.
Yep.
Bulls getting 14 in this one. A little bit of inverse line movement. Only 25% of the public on South Florida. I think it's because of the way they played Cincinnati last week.
I agree. I've been riding Memphis all year.
I have too.
14. What is it? 14 points right now. I'll go with South Florida. I think Memphis wins, but I'll take the points here.
Charlie Strong at home. Yeah, I think so too.
I'll roll the dice here.
Memphis had a slow start last week. I can see South Florida getting under their skin.
Yeah.
Got Texas Tech taking on Kansas State. Texas Tech 4-6 on the season, must win. There is no tomorrow.
Nope.
Kansas State 6-4.
I like Kansas State.
I'm not sure. I kind of like Texas Tech in this one. I've been on Kansas State all season, but at least right now, and maybe I'll change my mind on Friday or Saturday, but Texas Tech has been really, really good at home. They've been exceptional at home. I'm going to take them here. Cincinnati against Temple. Cincinnati minus 10.5.
Hey, man, Coach Luke Fickell doing a real good job at Cincinnati. They've had a real good year, as Temple has had a good year too. So this is a pretty competitive game. I think the game is at Cincinnati. It's a 10-point spread, last I saw. I'm going to go with the Bearcats. I think Temple's a good team. I think they'll keep it close for a while, but I see Cincinnati winning by 2 touchdowns here.
I could see Cincinnati winning pretty big too in this one. They've been good at home. Temple, not so exciting of a road team, to be honest with you. We got LSU, where the Hogs are in town. This is the finale of the home
and they are Hogs
LSU this season. They want to send them off to the SEC championship in style. LSU just 2-3 against the number at home this season, while Arkansas, they haven't covered a road game all season.
43.5.
Yep.
Listen, I have taken bigger spreads during the year. LSU has a lot to play for. Arkansas is really bad. I see LSU, winning handily here. So I think I'll take LSU in the points.
I'm a little worried about LSU because I do think that they will put the backups in this week. We haven't seen a ton of the LSU backups this season, but I think that this will be the spot where we do see the backups.
But I also think the backups on LSU can run up and down the field at will as well. So
maybe. I don't know. We never really saw an LSU offense until Joe Burrow took over. But actually, they are home again next week against Texas A&M. So you're right. I'll lean to LSU, but I don't love it.
I don't love it. I think it's a lot of points.
It's silly amount of points.
But they got a lot. They got a lot to play for LSU. I don't think they're gonna take any chances here.
Got Tennessee visiting Missouri. Missouri 5-1 at home this season. Tennessee 2-1 on the road. The Vols 5-5. 1 win away from bowl eligibility after as miserable as they've looked at times this season. After
what a tough year they've had, right?
That loss to Georgia State to start the year. I mean, and they've really come around though, and the Vols have been playing extremely well recently. Meanwhile, Missouri did not look good last week at home against Florida, as good as they've looked at home all season. That was their one game they didn't cover. They were stomped by the Gators. But Missouri and Tennessee both 5-5. If they don't win here, they got to win next week. Tennessee, of course, plays Vandy always to end the season. Missouri, I'm not sure who they play.
It ain't Vandy.
No, it's not. I mean, Tennessee plays Vandy.
I know, but like a Vandy type of team, most likely.
Well, there's not too many. There's only one Vandy in the SEC.
I know there's only one Vandy.
There's only one Vandy. There's only one Ricky Hatton, and there's only one Vandy. That's for damn sure. Missouri plays next week at Arkansas, so they will have a shot.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of a trade-off.
Oh, it's a Friday game in Fayetteville.
Ooh.
That Friday, that day after Thanksgiving. I love that day.
That's great.
Sandwiches, football, leftover pie, stick it in the microwave, get some Cool Whip.
Oh, yeah. So I'll take Missouri at home against the Vols here.
I'm going to take Tennessee. I think they at least cover if they don't win outright. I just really think Tennessee has got the ship right. This is the best Tennessee has looked in a long time. We got Duke against Wake. Duke +7 at home, getting shellacked last week in a game that we both liked them against Syracuse, I think it was. They got crushed.
Yep. I don't know what's up with the Dukies. Wake Forest had a bad loss a couple weeks ago, too. But I think Wake Forest is the better team here.
Wendy's enjoying the banter. We invented banter. Banter was invented on this show.
Good banner. Thanks, yes. Wendy.
Yes. I like the word banter.
Mitch and I have been bantering back and forth for
Just some banter. Yeah, I've enjoyed this show with Steve. That's for sure. We haven't, we talk sports for years and years and years, but it got less and less, and it's nice to be doing it more often on a regular basis, scheduled.
Yep.
Scheduled sports discussion.
Yep. Love it. I think Wake Forest is a better team than Duke this year, and I'll go with Wake Forest.
I like Wake too. They've been real disappointing the last 2 weeks, getting stomped
They
by
have.
Virginia Tech and Clemson.
Yep.
Herm Edwards, they play to win the game, but Oregon Ducks have not taken their foot off the gas for a second. Last week, we had them laying 27 on College Football Saturday, and they win by 28 against Arizona. They scored a late touchdown for the cover.
Yep.
The big criticism on Oregon this year is leaving Justin Herbert in all the way to the end of the game. Almost every single game he takes, he never comes out, and it's like even with the Tua injury, I still believe the Tua injury was just such a freak injury. I've seen Tua tossed around. I mean, I said it last year in the national championship game. He was tossed around like a rag doll. I still think the injury was fluke as hell because it's just not an injury that you see too often.
Not at all.
I'm not surprised that he got injured because he gets crushed. When Tua plays against a good passer, he gets crushed.
He does.
I'm
all in on Oregon here.
Yeah, I love Oregon, but I don't buy into the taking Herbert out or whatever. It's like you want to coach Oregon and you try and get that job away from Mario Cristobal at this point.
Yeah,
we got Oklahoma taking on TCU. The Sooners 18-point favorites after the big comeback last week. Gary Patterson's team 5-5. They need a win to get into the bowl eligibility. We're seeing a lot of these big conference teams. I don't know what the bowl picture looks like, but we're seeing a lot of 5-5s here heading late into the season. And I don't know, maybe some of these lesser conference teams slip into the bigger bowl games because some of these bigger conference teams, we're just not seeing the records to qualify.
True. I'm going to go with Coach Gary Patterson and the TCU defense. I think Oklahoma will win the game, but I think TCU will play them hard, and I don't see Oklahoma cover, so I'll take TCU.
I like TCU as well. We got Utah up against Oregon.
Oregon State.
22.5-point favorites here. That Arizona defense, where have you gone? I mean, wow, does that defense stink. I mean, I've seen some stinky defenses, but they make Bowling Green's defense last night look downright presentable.
Right.
I love Utah in this one.
Love Utah. Very underrated this year. It took me a long time to start buying Utah stock. But I tell you what, they're a good football team, man. Like you said earlier, they kicked the crap out of UCLA last week. And they're deserving of a top 10 ranking, there's no question. So I like Utah here.
Got a few other games still on the board. We'll roll through these quickly as we over an hour that we shoot for here. And probably because I was looking at those contracts. But we got Colorado up against Washington.
I love the Huskies.
Yeah, 14.5 points on the road. I think that you got quarterback problems against a tough defense. We got Utah State against Boise State. I think Utah State, to me, one of the more disappointing teams this season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Boise in this one, even though I was one of the early adopters on Boise many years ago. I used to say when Chris Peterson, he always wears a blue shirt anyway when he was Boise's coach, and I'd say, Chris Peterson's got his ass-kicking shirt on today. And, he would come out and, punch it in with,
Yeah.
It's like Chris Peterson never sits on it and runs the clock out and works it for a field goal. He's punching it in.
Yep.
But, he's not there at Boise anymore. But only 51% of the public here only 51% of the bets on Boise. 9-1 for the Broncos, but just 1-2 against the spread on the road. But I know Utah State's going to be sky high for this game. I just don't like them this year.
Neither do I. I've been riding Boise all year. I'll continue with Boise.
We got Hawaii hosting San Diego State, and this is a pretty interesting game. Hawaii 7-4. They're generally a 6-6 type team. They played 13 games in the regular season because they are Hawaii. And San Diego State 8-2 on the season. We had them last week in that late night game against Fresno. a lot of people were on Fresno in that one. I rode with the Aztecs. And in this one, though, Hawaii 2-4 against the spread at home. San Diego State 4-1 against the spread on the road. This is a pretty good game. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time start, so it's 6 o'clock Hawaii time. But I will say we've had some good trade winds during the week, so it's been a little bit cooler here. I mean, it was chilly on the golf course this morning. It got down to about 70. And I could see this game, though, being a real...
70, it's chilly?
A little chilly. I almost thought about wearing a windbreaker.
Let me open my window here. Let me tell you about chilly.
Yeah, I was thinking about wearing a windbreaker.
I'm going to think it's 38 here in North Jersey right now.
It's about way more than that now. Here, I can take out my my Apple Watch, and this is what I love. I love when you're wearing the Apple Watch outside, and you hit the weather app. It's like, especially when it's raining or something. Oh, that was weird. Let me see something.
And what? Al Roker comes on the screen and gives you the weather?
No, it's actually it's 84 degrees right now. Here.
84? Okay. It's comfortable.
Yeah, you can see it did get down to 73 this morning. Felt like 70 or below to me. I'll tell you that.
Oh, my God. Poor baby. I like the Rainbow Warriors here at home.
I kind of like San Diego. We have the inverse line movement going pretty big, so I guess I'll go with Hawaii also on the inverse line movement. Also, let's face it, I'm not a local, but a lot of my friends are, so we got to stay in the good graces. We don't do religion and politics, but we do Hawaii football. Anyways, I took the over in tonight's Buffalo-Toledo game. Steve took Buffalo. I took the over in the Miami-Georgia Tech game. Steve took Miami. I took the over in Georgia Tech, NC State. Steve took Georgia Tech. Steve also took Wyoming. I didn't give a pick on that game. We both took Michigan State. I took Tulane. Steve took UCF. I think UCF wins. I think Tulane might cover there. We both took the Golden Gophers. We both took Ohio State. I took West Virginia against Oklahoma State, and Steve took Oklahoma State.
I did.
I took Illinois. Steve took Iowa. We both took Boston College, Texas A&M. I took UCLA, and Steve took USC. Steve took Nebraska. They make me sick. I took Maryland. Nebraska.
They both make me sick. Come on.
Nebraska just stinks. I mean, they stink. It's like you're at the game and it's just like, you stink. It's like, that's what I just feel like. I yell it. My wife. This is my wife. They can't hear you. They can't hear you through the TV. We do the voice. You know, everyone that's married does the voice to their spouse. You can't hear you through the TV. Why are you doing the voice? Anyways,
oh, they can hear me.
No, she does the voice. I got took Indiana, Tom Allen. That's a rare one for me. Steve doesn't have such a good thing there either. He's got Jim Harbaugh. He took Virginia Tech. I like Pitt plus the 4 in that.
Yep.
Both took Wisconsin. Matter of fact, I tried to trade my college career to go to Wisconsin on this very show. I took Cal. Steve took Stanford. The band is on the field. We both took Cincinnati, LSU. I took Tennessee. Steve took Missouri. We both took Wake, Oregon, TCU, Utah, Washington, Boise, and Hawaii. So we agree in the late night action.
There in the latter part, huh?
Anyways, good show. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We got Thursday night football tomorrow. We've got the one college football game. We got a slew of college basketball, starting with Villanova, 11:30 a.m. start tomorrow. We got daytime college basketball. It's the second best week of the year for college basketball. Well, actually, I think there's a Christmas week too where they have all those games as well. But I think a lot of teams are off during then though. But this is the one where it's like you really have all of these tournaments going on. And of course, Monday here in Maui, if anyone's going to be in town, let me know. I'll bring my computer. I'll do the live show at the Lahaina Civic Center. It is the best place in the entire world to watch college basketball. Basically, I'm this far from Bill Walton. It's this far that I am from my computer. Like,
How you doing, bitch?
I didn't say anything to him.
I know.
It's like I was watching the game, but it's like, yeah, it is the best place in the world to watch a game, and of course, if it does play out to form, it's Michigan State, Kansas on Wednesday. Anyway, so anyone want to go see Michigan State, Kansas in a 3,000 seat gym? I'm down.
That's cool. Good stuff.
Yep. Anyways,
right.
Mitch, Steve, thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the NFL show. We got a lot of NFL this week, 14 games. Got some big games. We got the Ravens and the Rams. Goff against the Ravens defense. It's that Goff Lamar Jackson showdown going on. Got Aaron Rodgers taking on San Francisco. It's like, the last time San Francisco was good, it was Aaron Rodgers against San Francisco, and it's like he's still there taking on San Francisco. And then the Eagles and Seahawks got relegated, out of the Sunday night spot. And of course the Patriots taking on Dallas Cowboys. And what could be, I would say, Jason Garrett. I don't know. He could be.
It's a big game for Coach Garrett.
Let's just say I don't think they set a place for him at Jerry Jones's dinner. It's kind of like they might like, okay, everyone's separate. We got one more.
What's this placemat for Mr. Riley? Who is this guy? Huh?
I wouldn't be surprised. Do we have any word on who the halftime show is? Usually the Cowboys Thanksgiving halftime shows. Usually the Cowboys have a country star, and the other game is usually a rock group.
Yeah.
The Cowboys had a couple years ago someone really weird. It was like I didn't even know who this guy was. Who's performing at Thanksgiving halftimes? The Detroit Lions announced that their classic will feature multi-platinum recording artist Mike Posner of the Mike Posner Band. Oh, this is old. This is 2018. The hell am I looking at? Thanksgiving halftime announcement: the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know. If anybody knows who's playing at halftime, let us know.
That's it.
Ellie Goulding. I don't even know who that is. Is playing at
I just know I won't be watching that.
She'll be playing at the Cowboys halftime.
That's wonderful because I will not watch that.
Pop singer Ellie Goulding will be playing at the halftime of the Cowboys game. So there you have it.
Cool. All right, got to sign off.
Have a great week, everyone. Have a good day. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10. Like I said, tons of college basketball on tap. I will see you then. Have a good
great night.
I'll see you in the Facebook group.
Yep. Thanks.